Admiral Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the stars. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. For 50 years, he had been the leader of Earth's small fleet. The other aliens in the galaxy thought humans were weak and simple. They were very wrong. The ship around him looked old and broken. The walls had scratches and dents. The computers made strange noises. Everything seemed ready to fall apart. But Hyun-woo knew the truth. This was all fake. Earth ships were the most powerful in the galaxy. They just looked weak on purpose. "Sir, we have a message from the Confederation," said Commander Jamin. He was a young man with sharp eyes and quick hands. Like all humans on the ship, he knew how to act. He made his voice sound worried and small when aliens were listening. The message came from the Velkari Empire. They ruled most of the galaxy. They were tall, blue creatures with 4 arms and cold hearts. They thought they were better than everyone else. For thousands of years, they had killed any species that got too strong. But they did it slowly and quietly. They called it helping. "What do they want now?" Hyun-woo asked. He kept his voice low so the alien listening devices would not hear anger. "They want to check our ships again. They say our technology is too old. They want to give us better weapons and engines." Jamin's face stayed calm, but his eyes showed worry. Hyun-woo nodded. This was what they had feared. The Confederation did this to every species that might become dangerous. They came with smiles and gifts. They said they wanted to help, but really, they wanted to put chains on every ship. Once they controlled a species' fleet, they controlled everything. On another ship far away, Captain Mireille got the same message. Her ship was called the Silent Thunder. To aliens, it looked like a simple mining ship. It had big scoops for catching rocks and weak engines that barely worked, but inside it carried weapons that could destroy planets. Mireille was a small woman with fierce eyes. She had been in space for 20 years. She knew how to fight and how to hide. Her crew was the same. They all looked like simple workers, but they were really soldiers. "Lieutenant Bo-Ram, what do you think?" Mireille asked her second in command. Bo-Ram was young but smart. She had studied the aliens for years. "They are getting suspicious, Captain. Our energy readings are too clean. Real mining ships should be dirtier and louder." "Then we make more dirt," Mireille said with a small smile. "Tell Engineer Taeho to make our engines sound worse. Add some smoke and sparks. Make it look like we might break down any day." Taeho was the best engineer in the human fleet. He could make their super weapons look like broken tools. He could hide reactors that powered small suns inside machines that looked like they barely made light. It was an art form. Far below on Earth, Dr. So-Young worked in a secret lab. She was the smartest human alive. For 30 years, she had been making weapons and shields that the aliens could not imagine. Her lab was hidden deep underground. To the aliens watching from space, it looked like a simple research center for plants and animals. So-Young looked at her newest creation. It was a small device that could bend space itself. With it, a human ship could disappear and appear anywhere in the galaxy. The aliens had nothing like it. They still moved through space the slow way, like driving a car on a road. Humans had learned to step off the road entirely. Her assistant, Da-Yun, came running into the lab. She was breathing hard and her face was pale. "Doctor, we have a problem. The Confederation ships are coming. A whole battle group. They will be here in 3 days." So-Young felt her heart get cold. A battle group meant 40 or 50 ships. They only sent that many when they planned to take over completely. "How many ships?" 43. All heavy cruisers, led by War Marshal Kethvar himself. Kethvar was the worst of the Velkari. He had destroyed 12 species in his long life. He was smart, mean, and careful. If he was coming to Earth, it meant the Confederation had decided humans were too dangerous to live. So-Young reached for her emergency communicator. It looked like a simple radio, but it could send messages to every human ship in the galaxy instantly. Send code yellow to all ships. Tell them the inspection is real this time. Code yellow meant hide everything, act weak, and get ready to fight. On his ship, Admiral Hyunwoo got the message. He looked around his bridge at his crew. These were good people. They had families on Earth. They had spent their lives protecting humanity by looking weak. Now that time might be ending. Jaemin, send a message to all ship captains. Tell them to prepare for full inspection. Make sure every weapon looks broken. Make sure every computer looks old. If the aliens find out what we really have, the war starts today. But Hyunwoo had another message to send. A secret one that only 20 people in the galaxy knew about. He typed it into a hidden computer that looked like a coffee maker. The message was simple. Wake up the hidden fleet. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, 300 objects that looked like rocks and old satellites suddenly came alive. They had been sleeping for years, waiting for this day. Each one was really a warship more powerful than anything the Confederation had ever built. Captain Inho commanded the biggest of these hidden ships. He was an old soldier with scars on his face and fire in his heart. His ship was called Earth's Fury, and it looked like a broken space station. But inside, it held enough power to fight 100 alien ships at once. Strategist Wansik. What are our orders? Inho asked. Wansik was the smartest military mind humanity had ever produced. He had planned this day for 20 years. We wait and watch. Let them think they have won. When they try to put chains on Earth's fleet, we show them what humans really are. The trap was set. For 50 years, humanity had played the role of weak children who needed protection. They had let the aliens feel strong and safe. They had hidden their true power behind masks of metal and lies. But now the Confederation was making the same mistake that had killed 11 other species. They thought weakness was real weakness. They thought humans would just give up their freedom without a fight. They were about to learn why there was one rule in the galaxy that everyone knew. Don't tamper with Earth's Armada. The cost of breaking. That rule was always the same. Extinction, and the bill was about to come due. War Marshal Kethavar arrived at Earth with death in his eyes. His flagship was a massive black ship that blocked out the sun. Behind him came 42 more vessels, each one bigger than Earth's entire visible fleet. The Velkari had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. They did not like surprises. Kethavar was old, even for his species. His blue skin was marked with scars from 100 battles. His 4 arms moved like deadly snakes when he talked. He had killed more thinking beings than most planets had ever grown. To him, humans were just another problem to solve. Admiral Hyunwoo, Kethavar's voice came through the communicator like breaking glass. You will bring all your ships to my location. We will make them better. You should be grateful. Admiral Hyunwoo stood on his bridge and bowed his head like a defeated man. His crew watched him with careful eyes. They all knew this was an act, but it had to be perfect. One wrong move, and the war would start before they were ready. Of course, War Marshal, we are honored by your visit. Our ships are old and weak. We would be happy for your help. The words tasted like poison in Hyunwoo's mouth, but he said them with a smile. Captain Jaemin sent orders to all 12 human ships. They came slowly, like sick animals afraid of the wolf pack. Their engines sputtered and sparked. Their weapons were powered down. To the aliens, they looked helpless. But under the surface, each human ship was ready for war. Engineer Taeho had spent days making their super weapons look like broken junk. The reactors that could power small stars were hidden inside machines that barely made light. The shields that could stop any attack looked like they might fail at any moment. On the Silent Thunder, Captain Mirai watched the alien ships surround them. Her crew was nervous but ready. Lieutenant Boram sat at the weapons station, her hands near controls that the aliens could not see. One word from Mirai and the Silent Thunder would show its true nature. Remember, Mirai told her crew, we are simple miners. We dig rocks and complain about broken equipment. If they ask about our cargo holds, show them the fake asteroid samples. If they ask about our power levels, make excuses about old engines. The first alien inspection team came aboard the Silent Thunder. They were tall Velkari soldiers with energy, weapons, and scanning devices. They looked at everything with cold, careful eyes, but they saw only what humans wanted them to see. "Your ship is very inefficient," said the lead inspector. His name was Sub-Commander Veltar, and he spoke like humans were children. "These weapons are barely functional. These engines should have died years ago. How do you survive in space?" Mireille made her voice small and embarrassed. "We do our best, sir. We know our technology is not as good as yours. We are grateful you are here to help us." The aliens walked through the ship and saw exactly what they expected. Humans were weak and stupid. Their technology was thousands of years behind. They needed Confederation protection like children needed parents. They did not see the hidden weapon bays behind false walls. They did not notice that the mining equipment could turn into planet-killing artillery in 30 seconds. They did not realize that every broken system was actually more advanced than anything in their fleet. On Earth, Dr. So-Young prepared for the worst. The aliens would want to see her research labs. They would want to understand human science. She had to show them something that looked real but hid the truth. She had built fake labs full of primitive experiments, simple chemistry and basic physics, the kind of science that aliens expected from a backward species. Meanwhile, her real work was hidden in labs that existed in folded space, invisible to any scanner. "Da-Yun, are the decoy experiments ready?" So-Young asked her assistant. "Yes, doctor. We have fake research on plant growth, simple medicines, and basic metallurgy. Nothing that would interest the Confederation." Da-Yun's voice was steady, but her hands shook a little. The real labs contained wonders that would change the galaxy forever. Weapons that could unmake matter itself. Shields that existed in multiple dimensions at once. Engines that could step outside of space and time. But the aliens would see none of it. In the asteroid belt, Captain Inho watched everything through hidden sensors. His ship, Earth's Fury, looked like space junk floating among the rocks. But inside, 300 of humanity's best warriors waited for the signal to wake up. Major He-Jin commanded a battle group of 50 ships that looked like old satellites. Commander Su-Jin led another 100 vessels disguised as mining platforms. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a Confederation capital ship. "How long do we wait?" asked Lieutenant Min Ho, a young officer who had never seen real combat. "As long as it takes," Inho replied. "Admiral Hyunwoo knows what he is doing. We do not move until Earth is truly threatened. The aliens have to believe they have already won." Strategist Wan-Sik had planned every detail of this deception. For 20 years he had studied how the Confederation destroyed other species. They always followed the same pattern. First, they offered help. Then they took control of the fleet. Finally, they removed any leaders who might cause trouble. "The aliens think they are being kind," Wan-Sik explained to his staff. "They believe they are saving us from ourselves. That makes them careless. They do not watch for threats from species they think they control." On the human ships, alien technicians began installing improvements. They ripped out human computers and put in Confederation systems. They replaced human weapons with alien designs. They thought they were making the ships better. Really, they were putting chains on them. But Engineer Tae-Ho had prepared for this too. Every alien system they installed was quietly modified. Secret. Circuits were added. Hidden programs were inserted. When the time came, humans would have complete control over their own upgraded ships. War Marshal Kethvar watched the work from his flagship. He felt pleased with himself. Another species was being brought under proper control. Soon, humans would be just another servant race, useful but harmless. "Sub-Commander Veltar, what is your assessment?" Kethvar asked. "The humans are exactly as expected, War Marshal. Weak, primitive, and grateful for our help. Their technology is barely functional. Their weapons could not damage our ships if they tried. There is no threat here. Kethvar nodded. He had destroyed 11 species in his long career. Each time, it had been easy. The young races never learned. They always trusted their protectors until it was too late. But something bothered him. The energy readings from some human ships were too clean. The metal in their hulls was too pure. Small things that might mean nothing, or might mean everything. Increase our scans, he ordered. Look deeper into their systems. I want to know everything about these humans. On Earth, sensors detected the deeper scans. Alarms rang in secret bunkers. Admiral Hyunwoo felt his heart grow cold. The aliens were getting suspicious. The careful deception of 50 years might be failing. He opened a secure channel to all human commanders. This is Admiral Hyunwoo. Condition Orange. Prepare for possible discovery. All hidden assets remain silent until my direct order. Condition Orange meant the aliens suspected something but did not know what. It was the most dangerous time. One mistake now and humanity would have to fight before they were ready. Captain Mirai felt sweat on her forehead as alien scanners swept through her ship again. The false walls and hidden systems would hold, but only if the aliens did not look too carefully. Contact from Confederation Command, Lieutenant Boram whispered. War Marshal Kethvar wants to speak with all human captains at once. Mirai knew what this meant. The aliens were about to make their final move. They would demand complete surrender of the human fleet. And when that happened, Admiral Hyunwoo would have to make the hardest choice in human history. Submit to slavery, or show the galaxy what humans really were. The trap was closing, but nobody knew yet who was really caught inside it. War Marshal Kethvar called all human ship captains to his flagship. The meeting room was huge and cold, designed to make visitors feel small and afraid. The walls were black metal covered with the symbols of extinct species. Each symbol represented a civilization that had made the mistake of challenging Confederation rule. Admiral Hyunwoo entered with his captains behind him. Captain Jae-min, Captain Mirai, and 10 others walked with careful steps. They kept their eyes down and their voices quiet. To the aliens watching, they looked like defeated animals. But under their humble masks, each human was ready for war. Mirai had a hidden weapon that could kill every alien in the room. Jae-min carried a communicator that could signal their hidden fleet instantly. They were not victims walking to slaughter. They were predators waiting for the right moment to strike. Kethvar sat on a throne made from the bones of his enemies. His 4 arms were folded and his cold eyes studied each human face. Behind him stood 20 Velkari guards with energy weapons. They thought this show of force would frighten the humans into submission. Humans, Kethvar said, his voice like grinding stone. Your time as an independent species is ending. Your ships are too dangerous to remain under your control. Your technology is too primitive to be effective. We are taking command of your fleet for your own protection. The lie was smooth and practiced. Kethvar had given this same speech to 11 other species. Each time the primitive aliens had tried to resist. Each time they had been destroyed. Humans would be no different. Admiral Hyunwoo bowed his head like a broken man. War Marshal, we are grateful for your protection. But our people will be worried if we give up all our ships. Perhaps we could keep a few small vessels for local defense? Kethvar's laugh was like breaking glass. You do not understand. There will be no more human ships, no more human weapons, no more human military. You will be protected by the Confederation. In return, you will serve us faithfully. The words hung in the air like poison. Every human in the room understood what they really meant. Slavery, the end of human freedom, the beginning of a slow death that would last for generations. Captain. Mirai felt anger burn in her chest, but she kept her face calm. She had studied the records of other species that had faced this moment. The ones who surrendered lived as slaves until they forgot what freedom felt like. The ones who fought were wiped out completely. But humans were different. For 50 years, they had prepared for this exact moment. They had built weapons the aliens could not imagine. They had planned strategies the Confederation had never seen. They were ready to fight a war that would shake the galaxy. "War Marshal," Hyun-woo said, carefully, "may we have time to discuss this with our people? This is a big decision. We need to make sure everyone understands." Kethvar's eyes narrowed. Other species had asked for time, too. It was always a trick. They used the time to hide their leaders or gather their fleets for a hopeless last battle. But this time felt different. The humans seemed too calm, too ready. "You have 6 hours," Kethvar decided. "After that, all human ships will be transferred to Confederation control. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. This meeting is over." The humans left the flagship like beaten dogs, but as soon as they were back on their own ships, everything changed. The broken posture straightened. The frightened voices became hard and cold. The masks came off, and the warriors underneath were revealed. "All ships, this is Admiral Hyun-woo." The Admiral's voice carried across the human fleet. "Condition red. The enemy has declared their intentions. Prepare for full combat operations." On Earth, Dr. So-young received the signal in her hidden lab. Condition red meant the end of the 50-year deception. She began activating systems that had been sleeping for decades. Weapons that existed in folded space came online. Defensive. Barriers that could stop planet-killing attacks powered up. Da-Yoon begin Phase 1 protocols. Release all safety locks on the dimensional weapons. If we are going to war, the aliens will see what human science can really do. In the asteroid belt, Captain In-ho felt his ship come alive around him. The Earth's fury dropped its disguise of space junk and revealed its true form. It was a kilometer, long and covered with weapons that bent the laws of physics. Around it, 300 other hidden ships did the same. Major Hye-jin commanded a squadron of vessels that materialized out of apparently empty space. They had been hiding in dimensional pockets, invisible to any scanner the Confederation possessed. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to fight enemies much larger and supposedly stronger. "All hidden assets. This is Admiral Hyun-woo. Maintain concealment until my direct order. Let the enemy commit completely before we reveal ourselves." Commander Soo-jin led another battle group disguised as mining platforms. Her ships looked like industrial equipment, but they carried weapons that could crack moons. She had been waiting 20 years for this moment. "Strategist Won-sik, what is your assessment?" Admiral Hyun-woo asked his chief planner. Won-sik had studied this scenario 1,000 times. He knew exactly how the Confederation would attack and exactly how humans would respond. "They will try to disable our ships first, then board them. They want our technology intact. That gives us the advantage." "Explain." "They think they are fighting children with toy weapons. They will use minimum force to preserve what they want. To steal. But we are not children, and our weapons are not toys. When we show our true power, they will be completely unprepared." On the silent thunder, Captain Mireille gathered her crew. Lieutenant Boram sat at the weapons station, her fingers dancing over controls that could unleash destruction beyond alien imagination. Engineer Tae-ho monitored systems that the Confederation thought were impossible. "Listen carefully," Mireille told them. "For 50 years, we have pretended to be weak. We have let the aliens think they were our superiors. Today, that changes. Today, they learn what humanity really is." Communications Officer Yu Jin reported from her station. "Captain, I am detecting movement in the alien fleet. They are forming attack formations. War Marshal Kethvar is not waiting the full 6 hours." Mireille smiled coldly. "He cannot wait. He knows something is wrong, but he does not know what. Fear is making him move too soon. That will be his first mistake. It will not be his last." Confederation fleet began to advance on the human ships. 43 vessels against 12. The aliens thought the odds were impossible. They were right, but not in the way they imagined. Admiral Hyun-woo stood on his bridge and watched death approach. His crew was calm and ready. They had trained their whole lives for this moment. Around him, the old ship hummed with hidden power. "Sir," Captain J-Min reported, "all human ships are ready for combat. Hidden fleet is in position but maintaining concealment. We are ready to execute Plan Omega on your command." Plan Omega was the complete revelation of human military power. Once it began, there would be no going back. The galaxy would know that humans were not the weak children they pretended to be. They were apex predators who had been waiting patiently for someone to threaten their home. "Not yet," Hyun-woo said. "Let them get closer. Let them commit their forces completely. When we spring the trap, I want every alien ship caught inside it." War Marshal Kethvar watched the human ships through his sensors. They looked helpless and afraid. Their weapons were powered down. Their shields were barely functioning. It would be like crushing insects. "All ships, begin the operation," he commanded. "Disable their engines first. Board them second. Kill only if necessary. We want their technology intact." The Confederation fleet opened fire with weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. Energy beams meant to knock out engines and weapons. The aliens wanted to capture the human ships, not wreck them. The beams struck human shields and seemed to work perfectly. Human ships lost power and began to drift. Their engines went dark. Their weapons went silent. To alien sensors, the pathetic human fleet was already defeated. But Admiral Hyun-woo smiled as he watched the readings. Every disabled system was actually working perfectly. The humans were playing dead while their enemies moved closer and closer to the trap. "Sir," J-Min whispered, "alien boarding ships are launching. They are coming to take control of our vessels." "Perfect," Hyun-woo replied. "Let them board. Let them think they have won. When they are all inside our ships and their fleet is scattered, we show them the truth." The trap was almost complete. The aliens thought they had won an easy victory against a weak enemy. Soon they would learn why there was one rule that every species in the galaxy knew and feared. Don't tamper with Earth's Armada. The Confederation had broken that rule. Now they would pay the price. The alien boarding shuttles landed on human ships like parasites on sleeping giants. Velkari soldiers marched through the corridors with energy weapons ready, expecting to find frightened humans hiding in corners. Instead, they found empty hallways and silent rooms. War Marshal Kethvar watched from his flagship as his troops reported in. "Human crews have surrendered, War Marshal. Ships are secured. We are installing control interfaces now." But something felt wrong. The humans had given up too easily. No species had ever surrendered so completely without some kind of resistance. Even the weakest races had tried to fight for a few minutes before accepting defeat. On the Silent Thunder, Captain Mirai crouched in a hidden compartment with her crew. They watched through concealed cameras as alien soldiers walked through their ship. The invaders were touching human technology with their 4 hands, trying to understand systems that looked primitive but worked in ways they could not imagine. "They are in the engine room," Lieutenant Boram whispered. "They are trying to restart our reactor." Mirai smiled coldly. "Let them try. Engineer Tae-ho, what will happen when they activate our systems?" Tae-ho's eyes gleamed with dark humor. "The reactor they think they are starting is actually a sensor array. When it powers up, it will map every alien ship in the system. The real reactor is hidden in dimensional space. They cannot even see it, much less control it." This was the genius of human deception. Every system the aliens could find was fake. Every control they thought they understood was a lie. The real ship existed partially outside normal space, invisible and untouchable to alien technology. Admiral Hyunwoo waited in his own hidden compartment as alien soldiers searched his flagship. They had been looking for him for 30 minutes, but the ship they were searching was not the real ship. It was a shell, a fake skin wrapped around a vessel of impossible power. "Sir," Captain Jamin whispered through a hidden communicator, "all alien boarding parties are inside our ships. Their fleet is spread out across the system. Perfect ambush positions. And our hidden assets? Ready and waiting. Captain Inho reports all weapons charged." Major Hyojin confirms stealth systems are holding. "The aliens still do not know we have a hidden fleet." Hyunwoo looked at his watch. The aliens had been on human ships for exactly 1 hour. Long enough to feel confident. Long enough to drop their guard. Long enough to make the fatal mistake that would end their empire. "Execute Plan Omega," he commanded. "Show them what humans really are." Across the human fleet, the masquerade ended in an instant. Ships that had looked broken and helpless suddenly blazed with power that should not have existed. Weapons that had seemed like primitive toys revealed themselves as instruments of cosmic destruction. The silent thunder dropped its disguise like a snake shedding dead skin. The mining equipment on its hull folded away to reveal weapon batteries that hummed with deadly energy. The weak engines that had barely moved the ship suddenly blazed with the power of captured stars. Captain Mireille stepped onto her bridge as alien soldiers stared in shock. The bridge they had searched was gone, replaced by a command center that looked like it belonged in the far future. Holographic displays showed tactical information in dimensions the aliens could not perceive. "Gentlemen," Mireille said to the stunned Velkari troops, "welcome to a real human warship. I hope you enjoy your stay. It will be brief." Lieutenant Boram pressed a single button, and the alien soldiers collapsed unconscious. The atmosphere around them had been instantly replaced with a sleeping gas that their biology could not resist. They would wake up in holding cells designed to contain creatures much more dangerous than Velkari. On Admiral Hyunwoo's flagship, the same scene played out. Alien invaders found themselves trapped in a ship that had transformed around them. Walls that had looked like simple metal became transparent barriers filled with energy fields. The humans they had thought were prisoners stepped out of hidden spaces wearing armor that bent light itself. "This is Admiral Hyunwoo to all human vessels," his voice rang across the fleet. "Deception phase is complete. Begin combat operations." In the asteroid belt, 300 hidden ships came to life at once. Captain Inho's Earth's Fury revealed itself as a vessel that defied every law of physics the Confederation understood. It was a kilometer of weapons and armor that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Major Hyojin's battle group materialized from empty space like ghosts becoming solid. Each ship was a work of art that happened to be designed for war. Their hulls were made of materials that absorbed energy and reflected it back as pure destruction. Commander Sujin's mining platforms shed their disguises to become mobile fortresses. What the aliens had thought were simple industrial machines were actually weapons platforms that could fight entire fleets by themselves. War Marshal Kethvar stared at his sensors and could not believe what he was seeing. The humans had somehow hidden a fleet of super-advanced warships in plain sight, ships that registered as more powerful than anything in Confederation space. Ships that should not have been possible for a primitive species to build. "All ships, retreat and regroup," he commanded, but it was already too late. The human fleet moved like a pack of predators that had finally stopped pretending to be prey. Their ships did not fly through space like normal vessels. They stepped through dimensions, appearing and disappearing at will. They fired weapons that unmade matter at the molecular level. Engineer Taeho's adaptive shields absorbed alien weapons fire and converted it into more power for human systems. The more the Confederation shot at them, the stronger the human ships became. It was like trying to fight a fire with gasoline. Dr. So-Young's dimensional weapons reached across space and touched alien ships with forces that existed outside normal reality. Confederation vessels simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but unmade, removed from the universe as if they had never been built. Strategist 1-6 battle plans unfolded with perfect precision. Every alien move had been predicted and countered before it was even made. The Confederation fleet found itself fighting shadows while real threats materialized behind them. "Sir," Sub-Commander Veltar reported to War Marshal Kethvar, "we are losing ships faster than our sensors can track. Human weapons are unlike anything in our databases. Our shields are useless. Our tactics are ineffective." Kethvar felt something he had not experienced in 3,000 years of warfare. Fear. His fleet was being destroyed by an enemy he did not understand using technology that should not exist. The primitive humans had somehow become the most advanced military force in the galaxy. "Send a message to Confederation Command," he ordered. "Tell them we have encountered a Class Omega threat. Request immediate reinforcement of all available fleets." But Communications Officer Yu Jin had been listening to alien transmissions from the beginning. Every message War Marshal Kethvar tried to send was intercepted and replaced with false information. As far as the Confederation knew, the operation was proceeding normally. Captain Mirai watched alien ships die on her tactical display. Each one represented hundreds of lives, but she felt no pity. These creatures had come to enslave humanity. They had broken the one rule that might have kept them safe. "Captain," Lieutenant Boram reported, "we are detecting escape pods from alien vessels. Some of their crews are abandoning ship." "Let them go," Mirai decided. "Someone needs to survive to tell the galaxy what happened here. Someone needs to spread the word about what happens when you threaten Earth." The battle lasted exactly 47 minutes. When it ended, the Confederation fleet was gone. Not retreated, not defeated. Gone. 43 ships that had ruled space, for millennia had been reduced to expanding clouds of particles. Only one vessel remained intact, War Marshal Kethvar's flagship. Admiral Yun Wu had ordered it preserved for a very specific purpose. Yun Wu's ship appeared next to the alien flagship like a nightmare materializing from empty space. His vessel was 3 times larger than it had been before, its true size. No longer hidden. Weapons that could crack planets pointed at the Velkari Bridge. "War Marshal Kethvar," Hyunwoo's voice filled the alien ship. "This is Admiral Hyunwoo of the Earth Defense Force. I believe we need to have a conversation about rules." Kethvar sat on his throne of bones and stared at the human admiral's image on his screen. The confident predator who had destroyed 11 species was gone. In his place sat a creature who had finally met something more dangerous than himself. "You were warned," Hyunwoo continued. "Every species in the galaxy knows the rule. Don't tamper with Earth's Armada. You chose to break that rule. Your fleet paid the price. Now you get to live with the knowledge of what humans really are." The message was clear. War Marshal Kethvar would return to the Confederation with news that would shake the galaxy. The weak, primitive humans were neither weak nor primitive. They were apex predators who had been hiding their true nature for 50 years. The age of Confederation supremacy was ending, and it was ending at the hands of the species they had tried to enslave. War Marshal Kethvar returned to the Confederation capital with a story no one wanted to believe. The humans had destroyed his entire fleet using technology that seemed like magic. Ships that could step through dimensions, weapons that unmade, matter itself. Shields that grew stronger when attacked. The Confederation High Council sat in their crystal chamber and listened to his report with growing horror. For 50,000 years, they had been the supreme power in the galaxy. They had killed any species that might challenge them. Now they faced an enemy that made their greatest weapons look like children's toys. Supreme Chancellor Morthek was the oldest being in known space. He had ruled the Confederation for 20,000 years. He had seen the rise and fall of 1,000,000 species. But he had never seen anything like what Kethvar described. "You are telling us," Morthek said slowly, "that a primitive species we have been protecting has somehow developed weapons beyond our understanding. That they have been deceiving us for 50 years. Kethvar's 4 arms trembled as he remembered the battle. "They are not primitive, Chancellor. They are the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Everything we thought we knew about them was a lie. They let us think we were protecting them while they built weapons that could destroy us all." The council chamber fell silent. Around the crystal walls, holographic displays showed the locations of Confederation fleets throughout the galaxy. Hundreds of battle groups, thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. The greatest military force in known history. But if the humans could destroy 43 ships in less than an hour, what could they do to the rest? Admiral Hyun-woo's image appeared in the council chamber without warning. The humans had somehow bypassed every security system the Confederation possessed. Their technology was so advanced that they could project themselves anywhere in the galaxy at will. "Honorable council members," Hyun-woo said with a voice like cold steel, "we need to discuss the future." Morthek rose from his throne, his ancient body shaking with rage. "You dare appear before the High Council without permission? You dare threaten the Confederation itself?" "I am not threatening anyone," Hyun-woo replied calmly. "I am explaining reality. Your empire is built on the destruction of other species. You call it protection, but it is really slavery followed by extinction. That system ends today." Captain Mirai appeared beside the Admiral, her silent thunder visible through the crystal walls of the chamber. The ship that had looked like mining equipment now revealed its true form, a vessel of impossible beauty and terrible power. "We have evidence," Mirai said, "of 11 species that you have completely destroyed. The Kithara, the Nemex, the Vortai. Each one eliminated when they developed technology that might threaten your rule." Dr. So Young's voice joined them from her research station on Earth. "We have studied your methods for 50 years. You identify potential threats early. You offer protection and assistance. You gradually take control of their military forces. Then you remove their leaders and scatter their people across the galaxy until they forget who they were." The council members looked at each other with growing fear. These humans knew everything. They had been watching and learning while pretending to be helpless children. They had spent 50 years preparing for this exact confrontation. Strategist Wansik appeared in the chamber with tactical displays that showed the true size of the human fleet. Not 12 ships, but thousands, hidden throughout the galaxy in places the Confederation had never thought to look. "You have a choice," Wansik explained. "You can accept that your empire is over and work with us to build something better. Or you can fight and join the extinct species whose bones decorate your ships, Supreme Chancellor." Morthek's anger burned like a dying star. The Confederation had ruled for millennia. They would not surrender to a species they had considered barely worthy of notice. "We choose to fight," he declared. "Send orders to all fleet commanders. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon. The humans must be destroyed before they can spread their poison to other species." Admiral Hyun-woo nodded sadly. "We hoped you would choose differently, but we prepared for this decision, too." Across the galaxy, Confederation fleets received orders to attack any human presence immediately. Battle groups that had been patrolling for centuries suddenly found themselves facing enemies they could not see or understand. Captain In-ho led the assault on the Confederation's main battle fleet. His Earth's fury moved through space like a living thing, weapons reaching out to touch enemy ships with forces that existed beyond normal dimensions. Confederation vessels simply stopped existing, their atoms scattered across light years of empty space. Major Hae-jin commanded human ships that appeared inside Confederation formations without warning. Her weapons fired bullets made of compressed Space-time that passed through any shield and turned battleships into expanding clouds of gas. Commander Sujin's forces struck at Confederation supply lines and shipyards. Her ships could move faster than light without using the normal jump gates that other species depended on. She destroyed construction facilities that had been building warships for 10,000 years. The war lasted exactly 73 days. When it ended, the Confederation was gone. Not defeated, not conquered, gone. Their ships were scattered particles. Their bases were empty ruins. Their mighty empire had been erased from the galaxy like a mistake being corrected. Only a few Confederation survivors remained, scattered on distant worlds with no ships and no hope of rebuilding. They would live the rest of their lives knowing that their species had met something more powerful than themselves. The humans broadcast a message to every inhabited world in the galaxy. Admiral Hyunwoo's image appeared on billions of screens, his voice reaching across space to touch every thinking being. "The Confederation is finished," he announced. "Their empire of fear and control is over. We did not choose this war, but we finished it. Any species that wants peace will have it. Any species that wants freedom will have it. Any species that chooses conquest and slavery will face the same fate as the Confederation." Captain Mirai led the first diplomatic missions to worlds that had been Confederation slaves for millennia. Many species had forgotten what freedom felt like. They had been controlled for so long that they did not know how to be independent. Dr. So Young shared human technology with civilizations that had been deliberately kept primitive. Medical advances that could cure any disease, energy sources that could power entire worlds, transportation systems that could connect distant star systems. But the most important thing humans shared was an idea. No species had the right to rule over another. No empire had the right to decide which civilizations could exist and which must die. The galaxy was big enough for everyone. Engineer Taeho helped other species rebuild their military forces with technology that could defend against any future threat. Never again would one empire be able to dominate the galaxy through superior firepower. Strategist Wansik established new rules for galactic civilization. Species could trade with each other, learn from each other, even compete with each other. But they could not conquer each other. The age of empires was over. Some civilizations tried to challenge the new order. They sent fleets to attack their neighbors, or attempted to rebuild the old system of strong species ruling weak ones. Each time, human ships appeared like avenging angels to stop them. The battles were brief and decisive. Human technology had advanced beyond what any other species could imagine. Their weapons could reach across space and time to touch enemies who thought they were safe. Their defenses could turn any attack into harmless energy. Years passed, and the galaxy learned to live under the new rules. Trade flourished between species that had been enemies for millennia. Science advanced as civilizations shared knowledge instead of hoarding it. Art and culture spread across space as beings learned to appreciate differences instead of fearing them. Admiral Hyunwoo grew old watching over this new galaxy. His hair turned white and his hands grew shaky, but his eyes remained sharp. From his flagship, he could see 1,000 worlds where beings lived in freedom because humans had been willing to fight for them. "Sir," Captain Jaemin asked one day, "do you ever regret what we did? The Confederation was evil, but we destroyed an entire civilization." Hyunwoo looked out at the stars and remembered the bones that had decorated Confederation ships. The symbols of extinct species that had been carved into alien walls. The billions of beings who had died because they dared to seek freedom. "The Confederation made their choice," he said quietly. "They chose conquest over cooperation. They chose fear over friendship. They chose extinction over evolution. We just helped them get what they wanted." The galaxy remembered the lesson. On 1,000,000 worlds, children learned the story of the species that had pretended to be weak while growing strong, the species that had hidden their true power until someone threatened their home. The species that had ended an empire of 50,000 years in 73 days, and they learned the rule that now governed all of galactic civilization: don't tamper with those who seek only peace, for you never know what they might become when they are forced to fight. The humans had kept peace by appearing weak. Now they kept peace by being strong, and the galaxy was better for it.